Panther Nation, happy training camp. Today marks the first day of the Carolina Panthers training camp for 2026, and I'm here to tell you my top 5 guys to watch out for this summer as the Carolina Panthers go throughout training camp. Welcome to Move the Chains. I'm JJ. Now, if you haven't done so already, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and turn the bell notification on. I run a podcast called For Panthers Fans Only, where me and my co-host Terrence, we talk all things Carolina Panthers football. I will tell you it's unfiltered. It's a lot different than what you guys are going to get from me today. But this is another collective of videos that I do called Move the Chains, where I give my quick takes on a couple of different topics regarding the Carolina Panthers as well as other NFL news. So as I mentioned before, today we're going to be talking about the top 5 players to watch out for at the Carolina Panthers training camp this season. Now, I will say the news that we got on Wednesday afternoon has affected this list a bit. However, I must admit there were some names on this list that were already established and have not moved, but maybe have kind of creeped their way up a little bit on the priority list. So without further ado, let's jump into our first guy. First name on my list is none other than rookie tackle Monroe Freeling. Obviously, earlier this week, we received the news about Taylor Moton and the blood clot in his lung. Prayers up, of course, wishing Taylor Moton a speedy recovery. That being said, not only did the Carolina Panthers offensive line unit take a huge hit with this news coming regarding Taylor Moton, but it also throws a rookie into the fire a lot faster than a lot of you guys believed was going to be the case. Now, if you're familiar with For Panthers Fans Only and you've heard some of the conversations that me and Terrence have had over the course of the spring heading into the early part of the summer, obviously, I've kind of maintained the stance that I believe that Monroe Freeling was going to be a starter on this team, and sooner rather than later, transparently. I did not predict it happening this way. I thought over the course of the summer, Monroe Freeling was going to outplay Rasheed Walker, who the Carolina Panthers brought in on a 1-year prove-it deal this offseason. However, he gets tossed into the mix very, very quickly with the news regarding Taylor Moton, and we will be seeing Monroe Freeling play per Dan Morgan at the right tackle position. Now, I will add, this offensive line unit was a unit. For me personally, coming into this week, I had the most faith in from a depth perspective, but this news was definitely less than ideal if you were thinking about it similar to me. But with that being said, a lot of people that did not like this pick back in April, I would assume are having some second thoughts maybe about their position. And I will admit to you guys, for me personally, there's no other tackle from this rookie class that I would rather have in this situation. We know, and we were able to see Monroe Freeling play both left tackle and right tackle at Georgia. We do know that he has the ability to do it. And for me, heading into the summer, that's something that gives me confidence in this unit as a whole, especially with your 2 starting tackles being down to begin the year. With all that being said, Monroe Freeling is my number 1 guy to pay attention to for the Carolina Panthers training camp of 2026. Now, the next name on my list is probably going to trigger a few of y'all. I already know how y'all get behind the name that I'm going to say next. But at this point in his career, we must start having honest conversations. The second name on my list is wide receiver Xavier Legette. Now, again, I know that this is probably a name that's going to trigger a couple of you guys, but I am going to have a close watch on Xavier Legette. Based on some of the things that we've heard from this coaching staff, specifically Dave Canales, we all assume that the top 2 wide receiver slots on this team have been claimed by Tetairoa McMillan and Jalen Coker, and somewhere in the muck between 3 and 5, I assume Xavier Legette finds himself heading into this summer. Now, of course, for Xavier Legette, this is a less than ideal situation when you take into account the Carolina Panthers did draft him just 3 short years ago in the first round. But for me personally, I do believe Xavier Legette is built for the moment. I think that this season, we're going to see Xavier Legette respond. It is an uncomfortable situation. We saw his rep share go down significantly toward the back end of the season. And then the Carolina Panthers kind of added insult to injury a little bit this April when they drafted Chris Brazzell in the 3rd round. So again, it's a less than ideal situation for Xavier Legette to be in, and I do believe that this is Xavier Legette's last chance as a Carolina Panther. I do believe that if we don't see a significant amount of production and consistency out of Xavier Legette this season, then we could be hearing some conversations next offseason about a potential trade of Xavier Legette, or I'd go as far as to even say maybe even him being cut next July. guy. Now, of course, that option is a little more far-fetched, but when you look at this situation as a whole for Xavier Legette and this coaching staff specifically, this season is the year that we must see the emergence of Xavier Legette. For all of those reasons, XL is number 2 on my list of guys that I will be watching very, very closely going throughout training camp. Now, number 3 on this list may be a little shocking to some of you guys, but he is a fan favorite and he's one of my favorites personally. But before we get there, if you haven't done so already, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and turn the bell notification on so you can be notified anytime For Panthers Fans Only releases or JJ myself goes live or does a move to change video like this one that you're currently watching. Appreciate all the support and appreciate you guys tuning in. Number 3 on my list is somebody that may be a little shocking to you guys, but maybe once I give my reasoning, you'll understand and you'll err on the side of myself. The 3rd name on this list, Cory Thornton. Now, in my opinion, when you look at Cory Thornton and what he was able to accomplish last year as an undrafted free agent, I absolutely loved what he brought to the table. I love his edge. I love the chip on his shoulder that he plays with. I love the fact that he's a cornerback that comes down and hits. And you may ask yourself, JJ, why are we talking about a cornerback 3? Why are we talking about a guy that may not even be getting that many reps come October or November? Well, the fact of the matter is, if you look what Dave Canales said just a few short months ago, he made it abundantly clear that Cory Thornton did in fact win this job in training camp against Shaw Smith-Wade last year. And I know back in April, the Carolina Panthers did take another cornerback in Will Lee, a guy that a lot of you all are probably excited to see get his opportunities. But for me, I believe Cory Thornton is that guy that will take the step forward next year should we see a Mike Jackson departure. And if you've been around the podcast and you've heard my opinions on Mike Jackson in particular, I believe that the price tag that Mike Jackson is going to be asking for next summer is going to be a little bit higher than the Carolina Panthers are willing to pay. And so with that being said, there must be a cornerback in that room that emerges as a guy that the Carolina Panthers organization can trust should they decide to move on from Mike Jackson next offseason. Now, cornerback for the Carolina Panthers over the last couple of seasons has been a less than ideal room when you look at the depth or lack thereof. But I think with Cory Thornton now being healthy, this is one of the better, stronger units for this team. And of course, on Monday, we did get the news about J.C. Horn and his injury and him cutting his foot and him needing stitches or whatever the case may be. But J.C. Horn took to Twitter and told everybody to relax. So for me personally, I'm not tripping. If he said relax, then I'm going to relax and it's going to be what it's going to be. Throughout OTAs and minicamp, we heard reports that the Carolina Panthers and Ejiro Evero specifically had been doing a lot of experimentation with moving J.C. Horn in different positions on the field. We saw him play some slot. We heard that he went strong side. We heard that he went weak side. And so with that, when you're dealing with the top cornerback in the NFL and you want to do more experimentation with him in certain positions on the field, you have to be confident in the other guys that are on the field, like a Cory Thornton. So for that reason, Cory Thornton is number 3 on my list of guys that I will be watching very, very, very closely this training camp. Player number 4 on this list is another fan favorite, and unfortunately for us, we haven't been able to see much of this guy the first 2 years of his career. But player number 4 is running back Jonathan Brooks. Now, we all know the story on Jonathan Brooks. We all know the history of the ACL injuries and things like that. This is year 3 of Jonathan Brooks, and there's just no better time than now to see this young running back finally hit 100%. Now, yes, I understand that the Carolina Panthers went out and signed A.J. Dillon this offseason, but if we're just being frank, we understand that this is going to be a 2-man show for the majority of the time with Chuba Hubbard and Jonathan Brooks. Now, with everything that has been said about Jonathan Brooks, some by me, some by others, the fact of the matter is Jonathan Brooks has the potential to be a huge part in the growth and development of not only this offense, but also a young quarterback like Bryce Young. I think that we'll see Jonathan Brooks affect multiple facets of the game. If you look at just the small glimpse of what we were able to see from him a couple of years back, his impact in the passing game was immediately recognizable. Now, I'm one of those people that doesn't necessarily feel as though we saw enough of a sample size to see what he could do in the run game for me to just jump out the window and say Jonathan Brooks is going to be the starting running back heading into the season. But what I can say confidently is that I do believe that Jonathan Brooks is going to have a significant impact on this offense and in a positive way. We got the opportunity last year to see what this coaching staff would do in a two-back set, and I think some of the bad parts that we saw of it as it pertains to load management and rep share and things like that, this young coaching staff kind of got that out of the way, setting us up for this season with Jonathan Brooks' return. Jonathan Brooks is number 4 on this list for me. And last but certainly not least, third-year tight end Xavier Sanders. If you've watched any amount of Carolina Panthers football over the past 3 or 4 seasons, it is abundantly clear that they have had a tight end problem. When you look at Xavier Sanders and what he was able to accomplish in year 1, 33 catches, 342 yards, and a touchdown. When you look at his second year last year, only 29 catches, 190 yards, and 1 touchdown. Now, JT is definitely a guy that a lot of Panthers fans were excited about coming out of Texas. And the reason why we were excited was because of what we believed he was going to be able to accomplish vertically down the field in this offense. Now, the reason why Xavier Sanders' emergence this season is so key is because the Carolina Panthers desperately need a guy in that tight end room that has the ability to change the game. When Xavier Sanders is on, he's a big problem for defenders. When you look at Bryce Young and some of the inconsistencies that we've seen from him from season to season, a big part of that is because he hasn't had a reliable security blanket at the tight end position. This coaching staff had a lot of big plans for Tommy Tremble coming in, and then he got injured a couple of years ago, and it just hasn't seemed like it's clicked between him, this coaching staff, and Bryce. And for me personally, I think that the Tommy Tremble experiment is coming to an end, unfortunately. So, similarly to Corey Thornton, I believe that the Carolina Panthers are looking for a guy that can emerge for this team and solidify himself as the option moving forward. Number 5 on the list, Xavier Sanders. Now, that's all I have for today. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Again, if you haven't done so already, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and turn the bell notification on so you can be notified whenever we release videos like these or our full-length podcast for Panthers fans only. Chat, listen, the time is finally here now. I know the World Cup took a little bit of the edge off, but hey, it's time for some real football now. Make sure to tap in with us to stay updated on all things Carolina Panthers. Tap in with us on social media and visit our website, 4PanthersFansOnly.com, for Carolina Panthers merch, giveaways, and all things in between. Appreciate y'all tuning in again. Talk to y'all soon.